My fellow digital friends, folks, real ones, and even the fake ones who are secretly tuned in, let's talk about it.
We are sending out a street referendum. This needs to stop immediately. Y'all doing all this, I'm talking about 50, 60, get shot up every weekend in Chicago. Only for these to go to jail, fight hard, and at the end of the fight, one of the two turn, cause both of them turn, the new hold them open to spit in it. What are you doing that for? Well, I just want to, for what? What are you getting out of doing this to that man? You done already whooped him? Who decided to do this first, the BDs or the GDs? Who idea say, okay, we're gonna get them, this we're gonna do. And why do they continue to do it? And when a nigga spit in, do anybody help him up off the ground? He got to lift himself up, stand there and pull it, so he's standing there the whole tank looking at him, say, oh, they're spitting it. And he's standing there looking around, SA and them looking at him, the white boy looking at him. He's standing there, and he got to stand up and pull his pants up and get himself together after whooped him and spit in his, and the guards looking. Oh, he need counseling. Man, he go to jail. He might well start killing people. He gonna need some severe counseling. And he's supposed to come back home and be normal with us. He got to come play, he got to come be my neighbor and be normal with us. And y'all done this to him. And he just down there on a misdemeanor charge. But he can't make bond. Can't make bond. Got a court-appointed lawyer. And he's subject to get this done to him with a misdemeanor. We thought this happened in prison. No wonder them in Chicago. I think the reason why them in Chicago be so young, because somebody need boys before they get to jail. That's why they so, if you was to do mitigating factors, if you go find criminal defense mitigation specialists and went and interviewed these families and school teachers and babysitters, you go find out most of these niggas had they pushed in. That's why they want to push another nigga. And they done made it cool to do it. Now everybody in jail spitting in there. How y'all gonna stop doing that? When you get out of jail and you fight, you and your cousin fight, you go spit in his ass too? Now you got a habit of whooping and spitting in their ass. How you gonna break that habit? On them. How you gonna break that habit? If you done it, how you gonna break that habit?
Let's get into it, because we got a situation so out of control, so beyond reason, so mind-bogglingly ridiculous that it needs to be addressed. And let's be clear, some of y'all ain't ready for this conversation, but we're going to have it anyway. Charleston White, that man with the mouthpiece that never stops, has been talking. And when Charleston White talks, whether you love him or hate him, you listen. Because he says the things that a lot of people are too scared to say. And what's he talking about now? Chicago, the war zone, the battlefield, the place where it seems like every weekend, every single weekend, you check the news and see numbers that sound like military casualty reports. 50 shot, 60 shot, 70 shot. And for what? For who? What's the end goal? What's the prize? Because let's be honest, these dudes out here doing all this shooting, all this sliding, all this spinning the block, they're not even thinking 10 minutes ahead, let alone 10 years. Charleston White put it plain. Y'all out here catching bodies, putting your face on t-shirts, and where do you end up? Jail. And when you get to jail, what happens? Oh, you thought you was tough. You thought you was a big stepper. You thought you was the Grim Reaper. Nah, now you're in a cage, and let me tell you something, jail different. Jail different! Now Charleston was breaking it down in a way that only he can. He's describing what happens when these so-called steppers, these drillers, these real gangsters finally get caught. The cuffs go on, the doors close, and reality sets in. And let's be clear, it don't take long. Charleston said it himself. These dudes get in there, and all of a sudden the fear kicks in. The survival mode kicks in. They in there fighting, they in there struggling, they in there getting broken down in ways they never imagined. And for what? So you could be a legend on the block for 2 summers. So your homies could throw up your name on Instagram for a month and then move on to the next. Let's talk about what really happens. Because some of y'all glorify this lifestyle and don't even know the details. Charleston said it loud and clear. These dudes get locked up and it ain't even about fighting no more. They in there dealing with things that they not built for. You standing in the tank, you seeing what happens when the hierarchy is established. And let's be real, some of these guys ain't making it out the same. We're talking about real trauma. We're talking about real destruction. Some of these dudes come home and they ain't right no more. The mind gone, the spirit crushed. And y'all think this is cool. Y'all think this is something to aspire to. Let's talk about that one part that really stood out in Charleston's rant. He's describing a situation where a dude gets beat down and spit on. Spit on. Let's break that down, because that's not just a fight, that's not just a fade, that's psychological warfare, that's dehumanization, that's making somebody less than a man, less than human. And that's happening in real time to real people, and the cycle just continues. And then what happens? They come home, back to the block, back to society, and what do we expect? That they just act normal, that they just go get a 9 to 5 and pretend like they didn't go through hell. Nah, that's not how this works. You get people who come home and they're either permanently broken or permanently dangerous, because they either internalize what happened to them or they externalize it and pass it on. Charleston White said something real. Some of these dudes out here don't even realize how broken they are. They done been through things, they done seen things, and instead of healing, they just pass the pain forward. And let's talk about the young ones, because Charleston made another point that's been haunting me ever since he said it. The reason these young boys in Chicago so wild, the reason they don't care, the reason they out here shooting with no remorse, it's because they seen too much too early. They've been through too much too young. And when you get a generation that grows up like that, that's how you get the chaos we see today. Imagine a 14-year-old who done seen more death than a soldier. Imagine a 16-year-old who done been shot at more times than a war vet. What kind of mindset you think he gonna have? What kind of future you think he gonna see for himself? Charleston said it. By the time they get locked up, it's too late. The damage is done. And when they get in there, they keep the cycle going. Now, let's ask the real questions. Who started this? Who decided that this was the way? Who made it okay for an entire city to be a war zone? Because Charleston is asking a question that nobody really got an answer to. Who thought this was the way? The BDs, the JDs, the OGs? Who laid the blueprint? And more importantly, why does it keep going? Because at this point, it's not even about gang beef no more. It's about cycles. It's about habits. It's about a culture that's been so deeply ingrained that people don't even know why they're doing it anymore. Charleston said it. Some of these dudes out here shooting just because that's all they know. And when they get locked up, when they finally get caught, when it all comes crashing down, what happens? They get in that tank. They realize ain't no gun in there, ain't no homies in there, ain't no Instagram live in there. It's just them and the truth. And the truth is ugly. The truth is that they threw their life away for nothing. The truth is that the same people who hyped them up ain't writing them no letters, ain't putting no money on their books, ain't coming to visit. And then they gotta come home and act normal. They gotta come home and live next to you. They gotta come home and try to be a person again after going through something that most people can't even comprehend. Charleston White said it plain, this cycle gotta stop. It has to. Because right now, what we're looking at is insanity. We're watching generation after generation go down the same path, make the same mistakes, suffer the same consequences. And for what? Let's be real, let's be honest. Chicago could be something great. It could be one of the best cities in the world. The talent is there. The intelligence is there. The potential is there. But right now, it's self-destruction at the highest level. And here's the part that should really make people think. Charleston White ain't from Chicago. He ain't got no reason to care. He ain't got no reason to speak on it, but he's doing it anyway. Because somebody has to. Somebody has to tell the truth. Somebody has to say it raw. So to all the people who hear this and get mad, to all the people who want to brush it off, who want to act like this ain't real, look around. Look at the numbers. Look at the cemeteries. Look at the prison rosters. This ain't a game. This ain't entertainment. This is real life. And until people start treating it like real life, until people start valuing their own lives, until people start understanding that the cycle don't have to keep going, then we just gonna keep seeing the same headlines, the same news stories, the same tragedies. Charleston White said it best. Enough is enough. Now the question is, who's actually gonna listen?